Hello and welcome to my video where I'm going to go through the St. Benedict's College November 2018 practical so you can see how I would answer the SQL and how I would answer the programming questions. Hopefully you found this useful. I strongly recommend that if you haven't yet completed the practical that you go and do so before watching the video. What you could do, I'm going to do it in order. I'm going to do the SQL, then I'm going to do all the programming questions in order. So if you got very stuck, what you could do is you could attempt the SQL, then you could look at my SQL solution, then you could attempt the first class, the first question in the practical, attempt yours, and complete it like that. But I do strongly recommend completing before looking at the solution. So the first thing we have is the SQL section. There's no instructions on the front cover, so I'm not going to read those. So question 1 tells us that we've got a database called Comrades, and there's a table called TBL results. Then there's some information about the Comrades. It's run by a maximum of 20,000 runners coming from different countries and representing the various uphill clubs. Each year the Comrades alternates its routes between uphill or downhill. It is important to read this information. For example, over the last 28 years, maybe they want us to do something with the date, 20,000 runners. Maybe we're going to do something with the maximum number of runners. As it turns out, we aren't, but you never know. There might be information hidden here that you need to answer a question. This table records the year they ran the Comrades, whether it was an up or run down. That's the up field. The runner's gender, that's in the gender field. The time they took, that's the time field. The country name, and the running club. It actually records the runner's name as well, so this information isn't correctly detailed. However, this diagram is correct, and generally this diagram is going to come from looking at the database itself, so this should be fine. And then the first few lines of the database are shown below. This is probably going to be perfectly accurate because the information was copied. You can see this is copied directly from the version of SQL that they use. They're using MySQL. I think this is MySQL Workbench. Not that that really matters. Okay, create SQL queries or statements that will provide the correct information for the following questions. Run your statements in NetBeans. So we're going to be using Access. Then copy and paste the queries or statements and not the results into the Word file named SQL Answer Shield provided on the HS exam draft. So you will get a SQL answer sheet, it just won't be on the HS exam draft. But once again, I'm not interested in the results. So I don't want a picture of what you did, of what Access did. I want a picture of what you typed into Access. So question 1. In order to produce a summarized list of runners, display all the details of all runners sorting from fastest runners to slowest runners. So i.e. from shortest to longest time. So in the bottom right of the screen, over here, you should see that I've put the SQL summary notes. Well, a summary of the SQL notes. A summary of the SQL commands that you need to know. And we've got 4 options. We've got a select statement, an insert into, an update, and a delete. So insert into is the command that we're going to type when I want to put information into the database. Update is the command I'm going to type when I want to change some of the information in the database. And delete is the command I'm going to type when I want to remove information from the database. And over here, this just says that we want to produce a summarized list of runners. It doesn't say anything about adding, changing, or deleting information, so we're clearly going to use a select statement. The select statement is what we use to get information from the database. And the basic, if I take a look at the syntax, it says select, and then column name separated by comma, from, and then we have to type the table name, where, which is the restriction I want, and then finally order by. So if I take a look at this, I don't actually want column names because it says display all the details. So instead of typing the column names, I'm going to type a star. From is going to be, there's only one table, so like it's always going to be from TBL results. Where, again, I don't want any restriction. It doesn't say over here, like display the details of the runners from Pietermaritzburg or something like that. So I won't have a where clause, but I will have an order by clause because it says we need to sort it. So let's open up Access. You can see in the copy that I created for you, I've got this weird thing called paste errors. You can ignore it. I'm going to delete mine, and with any luck, it won't do anything bad. Or it will, and I'll just restart the video. But anyway, cool. So to start a query, I'm going to click on Create. Query Design, I'm going to skip the query design, and we're going to do it as if, because we know what's going on. Right click here, go to SQL View. That font is tiny, but hopefully you've got this in 1920 by 1080. If I recall correctly, if you want to update that, it's somewhere in the options. Table design, query design, I think it's here. And let's try to change this to font 16 or something. That didn't work. Although I imagine design view, nope, didn't change that either. Okay, you know what? I really don't feel like restarting the video, so you might just want to skip. I'm probably not going to edit this. Query design. Proofing link, data sheet. That's not the data sheet either. You know what? I have done this before. I know you can, but goodness knows where. Right, so you're just going to have to put up with it. So I want to select star because I want all the information. Let's maybe get the question up at the same time. Cool, there we go. So I'm going to select star from TBL runners. Okay, no where clause because I want all the runners, and it's going to be order by, and then I want fastest time to shortest time. If I take a look over here, that field is just called time. So we're order by time, and then let's try that. I don't know whether I want to go descending or not because it's time's weird. Okay, it's not TBL runners, it's TBL results. Okay, and then I'm going to run. That's a nice thing, you know, you do get some information about where your problem is if you make a mistake. So from fastest to slowest, and that looks like it's going fastest to slowest, so that's perfect. So I'm going to go back to SQL View, and I'm going to copy this. I used Control-C to copy, and I'm going to go to my answer sheet, and I'm going to paste it. And let's put my name here. There we go. Cool. If you want, right. And let's get our, not our answer sheet. That's okay. We want that and access and word. Okay. So now list the name, country, and gender of all runners who have completed the Comrades Marathon from Russia and Belarus, arranging the list so that all females are listed first, then males, and all runner names are then arranged in alphabetical output in each gender. So this is quite a complex thing, so worth taking a bit of time. So first off, out of my 4 options, once again, I'm not changing the data in any way or inserting or deleting, so I'm going to use the select statement. And here, list the name, country, and gender. So this is a case where I do want to list the column names. So list the name, country, and gender. So don't worry about the whole question. Let's just get that a little bit going first. So select and name, country, and gender. The column names are name, country, and gender. If you have an issue with the fact that there's only male and female for gender, then you're going to have to take that up with the people who store the Comrades records, because that's how they've got it. So select name, country, and gender of all runners who have completed the Comrades Marathon from Russia and Belarus. So it sounds like I'm not going to use a where, although before I get to the where, I'm going to go from TBL results. So anyway, as I was saying, it sounds like I don't want to where because it's where clause, because it says all runners who have completed, but then it says from Russia and Belarus. So I definitely want a where because now I want to restrict it. So I only want columns coming up with Russia and Belarus. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to finish this. You know, let's just do it as is. I'm going to click on design and run. And you can see, so I've got the name, country, and gender, but I've got like everyone, whether they're from Russia and Belarus or not. So let's go back to SQL view. And so I want a where clause. So now I want where. And they need to be from Russia and Belarus. And I can't just type where runners are from Russia and Belarus, because if I run that, I'm not even going to get a useful area. It just says syntax error. Okay, so let's have a look. I can't tell country from year or up or gender or time, but there's a country field, which is quite obvious. So I can say where country equals Russia or country equals Belarus. So you can see I'm using single quotes. Access uses single quotes. If for some reason you're using MySQL, you would use double quotes. Now if I run this query, you can see, great, I've only got people from Russia and Belarus. And now what I want to do is I want to sort the data in the way they've given it, well, in the way they've asked. So I want an order by query as well. Sorry, an order by phrase. So order by. So females are listed first. So order by gender. Is that going to give me females first or males first? Let's run it. It's giving me females first. Cool. Then males. Okay. And all runners' names are then arranged in alphabetical order. So that should be just gender, comma, name. And there we go. Hopefully I haven't missed anything out. My output looks good. So I think that's the right thing. So let's go to SQL view. I'm going to copy my query. I am going to go to my answer sheet. I'm going to paste it in for question 2. Then I'm going to bring that back up and access. So far, so good. Right, question 3. So sorry, just before I move on to question 3, for question 2, the reason I went where country equals Russia, you would know obviously with text fields you can use equals or you can use like. I'm going to use like when I want to match things, where it's similar to. Here I just wanted Russia or Belarus, so I typed equals. So anyway, question 3. List the name, gender, and country of all South African male runners with a name beginning with C. List the name, country, and gender. So in fact, the first part of my SQL select is exactly right from TBL results, but my where clause is going to be different. So I want South African male runners. So I want where country equals South Africa. Once again, double quotes if you're in MySQL. And gender equals M. And then finally, a name beginning with C and name like. And this is where I'm going to use like, because I don't want everyone with the name C. I want everyone with the name starting with C. So like, single quotes, C star, single quotes. So I put a star at the end to show that it's got to be a C to begin with, and then anything afterwards. That's what the star means. If you're using MySQL, you'd use a percentage sign instead of a star. Click run, and there we go. So South African male runners beginning with C. That looks good. I mean, you can always scroll through here. You can see, okay, South Africa, none of those are C. South Africa. You can actually sort these. Let's just sort. It's not going to change your database, so you still have to do your queries correctly. But there it is. South Africa. We got Charles Mateus, or is it Mateus? Cool. Then there's a C, but Caroline is female, so we're excluding her. Shanae is female, we're excluding her. Claude is male, so there we go. So it looks like our query is good. Let's go back to SQL view, copy, and paste into our answer sheet. Right, let's go back to question 4. A silver medal is given to all runners who complete the Comrades Marathon in a time between 6 hours and 7 hours and 30 minutes inclusive. List the names and times of all the recipients of the silver medal in the table. So this is like a little bit of information, but it also gives us our where clause, because basically we want to know where this is a time limit. So list the names and times. So I only want select name, comma, time. Yeah, name and time from TBL results, where time is greater than or equal to, and then I want a #6 not 6 not, oh, crying out loud, colon not colon not, and time is less than or equal to hashtag 7 colon 30. I'm not typing it all. Colon 30 colon not, and then a close hashtag. If you're in MySQL, if I recall correctly, you definitely don't put hashtags. I think you put quotes. Right, list the names and times of all the recipients. I don't need to sort it or anything, so let's go to design, click run, and there we go. Let's just check that everyone is between 6 and 7:30. So I shouldn't, there's none of there was a couple of people in 5 hours. There's no one greater than 7:30. This looks good. And I don't need to sort it or anything, so that's fine. I'm not sure if, I sorted by country here, if that made a difference to the query result. So if yours is in a different order, don't stress too much. Let's go to SQL view, copy, and paste. Perfect. Let's go back to our question paper. Question 5. You decided to run the Comrades Marathon this year, which is a down run, and you complete it in 11 hours and 55 minutes. Insert a record with the details reflecting result using Benny's as your club name. I think we're going to go with St. John's just to make it more St. Johnsy. So I'm now putting information in. It says nothing about getting information out, so it's definitely not a select statement. It's not asking me to change old information, so it's not an update statement, and it's not asking me to get rid of anything, so it's not a delete statement. So it's definitely an insert. So insert into, and once again, we're always using TBL results. Okay, and now I type the column names. So I can skip the column names if I'm filling every single column in. Let's just take a look and see. So do I have a year? Yes, it is 2019. Do I have up? Yes, my up value is going to be false or no because it's a down run. I have my gender. I have my time. I have my country. I have my name, and I have my club. So I can actually skip the column names. So insert into TBL results. I can just go straight into values. Whoops, I think I pushed Control V there. So insert into TBL results, values, and now I want to open bracket. And now, so the first thing I want, if I skip the column names, I have to get the column names in the exact right order. So the first thing was year. Year is a number, so I don't put quotes or anything around it. It's 2019, comma. Next up is the up field, so I'm going to go with false. Then I want my gender, which is M. Then I want my time, which is hashtag 11 hours 55 and no seconds, obviously. Once again, if you're using MySQL, you'd put quotes around the time instead of hashtags. I think you type false for MySQL as well. Then after time, my country is South Africa. My name is Matthew Gill, and my club is St. John's Athletics, which I can't spell. Athletics. Okay, and close bracket. Those are round brackets, by the way, not squiggly brackets. Go to design, click run, and I have, okay, actually this is quite cool. So if I've got a single quote there, it's going to complain. I suspect if I type a triple quote, nope, let's try a double quote. The reason it's coming is because I type open quote for St. John, then I've typed what I thought is an apostrophe, but it's reading it as a escape quote, and there we go. So if you want to get an actual quote, just type double quote. Then access, it pops up, you're about to append 1 rows. It's quite nice actually, because it sort of like gives you a warning, or if we're deleting, if you saw something like you're about to delete 16 rows, you know, okay, I made a mistake. MySQL doesn't do that, it just does it. So click yes, and you see if I scroll down to the bottom of TBL results, even if I sort by year again, oh, come on man, let's just sort by year, I don't appear there. But if I close TBL results and I reopen it, you will see I appear there. And everything's there, and I got my apostrophe in. That's cool. Great. Let's go back to design view. Oh, wait. Sorry. Go back to SQL view, that's table results. Let's go back to SQL view over here. Select that and paste it into our answer sheet. Only 2 more questions to go. So let's open up our question paper. So, Vongmusa Mtembu is later discovered to have been taking steroids after his race. Delete all his records. Goodness knows if that's true or not. I'm going to just, I'm just going to assume that's not true. I mean, maybe, but yeah, I'm just going to assume it wasn't, and that they just needed a result for something, or they made those up for something, because otherwise it's a bit slanderous, but whatever. So delete from TBL results, and just take a look what it's going to happen if I forget a where. If I click run, you're about to delete 59 rows. Absolutely not. Where name equals Vongmusa Tembu. Okay, and click run. No, that's because I can't spell apparently. So try it again. Click run. You're about to delete 3 rows. Why are there 3 people who have that name? Just sort by name. You know what? That's in fact. Okay. Oh, it's run 3 times. Oh, unlucky. Right. So let's go back to SQL view and let's run this. You're about to delete 3 rows. That's right. Unlucky. I'm going to assume you're innocent. Go to SQL answer sheet, paste it into the correct place, and then go there, go to access. And Nick Bester is now registered with the club Rand AC. I don't actually need to know what the old value was. Wait, I filtered the, you know what, I'm going to close this. Do I want to save changes to design? No, because that's just going to keep that filter there. There we go. So we're looking for Nick Bester. It's over there. Okay, and we're changing the club from unknown to give him a club. I don't need to know what the old value was. I can just go update TBL results. Set. Okay, then I need to type in the column name, and the column name is club equal to Rand AC where, and my restriction is name equals Nick Bester. Go to design, click run, update 1 row, and we are, I don't know if that'll show the update here. Probably, oh, it did. Cool. All right, so the only thing it doesn't update is if you insert information. You have to close the table and reopen it. And let's go to my SQL answer sheet, type it in, and I'm done with SQL. And unless I've made a silly mistake somewhere or missed a part of the question, that should be 100% for the SQL. Cool, so I can close access now. Do I want to save changes to my design of the query? No. My database changes happen automatically, whether I save or not. And as I said, we don't mark your database. We mark I've closed it now, but we mark your SQL, the queries you pasted. So if you forget to paste something, you're not getting it. All right, now let's move on to the Java programming. So it is important to read the scenario here so you have an idea of what's going on. Last year's matric exam was quite complicated, not because the programming itself was hard, but because of that you had to understand everything quite well. So you've been asked by your cousin, who is an avid deep sea angler, to create a scoring system for his team for an upcoming competition. Your cousin's team will compete over multiple days, coming to shore every evening with a summary of the fish caught for the day. Multiple rules and regulation govern the fishing tournament, as well as a scoring method based on the species and weight of each fish caught. So if multiple fish from different species are caught in a day by the same boat, then a points multiplier is applied to the day's score, and there's a prize for the longest fish caught in the whole competition. Okay, so we're catching fish. We're coming in with a summary at the end of the day. We score based on our species and weight. If we catch multiple fish from different species, we get a bonus, a points multiplier. And if I catch the longest fish overall, there's a mark. According to the Bonanza competition rules, the points are as follows. 1 point per whole kilogram. Fish will be weighed to the first decimal point. Multiple species Bonanza. So 2 species for the day is you multiply by 2. 3 species, you multiply by 3, etc. So 4 species, you multiply by 4, I'd imagine, and so forth. Below is a sample summary of the fish caught and released over 2 competition days on your cousin's boat. So this person on day 1, they caught 2 fish. Well, 2 species. Sorry, they caught 3 fish, 2 species. This thing weighs 36.4, so it's 36. This thing weighs 23.7, so it's 23. This thing weighs 37.1, so it's 37. So important to note, they're not rounding off. They are, in fact, flooring. They're basically ignoring the decimal. There is a math.floor command you can use to do that, or I think you can actually just cast as an integer, and it'll just get rid of the decimal for us. Cool. We've got 2 species, so I'd expect that my points get multiplied by 2, and they are. Over here, for day 2, there are 3 different species. Once again, our weight points are being floored, and we're multiplying by 3. Okay, and there's pictures which are pretty much irrelevant. Right, create a program called Boat Scorer with the main method and the following global variables. So over here, let's just close everything. You can see, let's create a new prac, and I'm going to call this SBC 2018. I'm going to untick create main class. If you have no idea how to create a main class, you'd probably like leave that going and at least copy from that, but I'm going to untick it. The one consequence of that is that I don't get a package. You don't have to have a package, but I prefer programming with one, so Java package, and I'm going to call it GIL. Otherwise, you know, the one thing, NetBeans moans at you every single time you create a package. I think I can get rid of my SQL summary notes, so let's get rid of that. Done. Right. And now I can create a new main method, program called Boat Scorer. So that is new Java class, Boat Scorer. If you're wondering how I'm flicking between Word and NetBeans so fast, I'm pushing Alt and Tab on the computer. Right, so Boat Scorer is with the main method and the following global variables. So I want a main method, PSVM tab, global variables. So I want points comp total, and that's an integer. So static points comp. So I messed that up. It's static int points comp total. Let's give it an initial value of 0. Static int fish comp count. Let's give that a value of 0. Then a decimal for longest length. Static double longest length. So you can see over here we're testing, do you know that like a decimal value is a double? And then longest species is a word. Oh, my word. Static string. What's it? Longest species, okay. Equals an empty string. All right, so because these are global variables, I've declared them globally. So they're declared inside the class and not inside my main method. So presumably I'm going to use these 4 variables in another method as well as the main method. But there we go, that's 2 marks out of 55 already. Code a method called one day. For each day of the competition, an unknown number of fish are caught. The length and weight needs to be recorded. So method called one day, public static void one day, no parameters, open the method, done. I just switched back because I saw some red there. The red came about when I did that because it's going to, as soon as I open this bracket, it's going to say, hey, you can't create a main method inside another method, or any method inside a method. It's going to say illegal state of expression. So we just closed it, and there we go. Right, add code to take in and store the species. I don't think that's not longest species there. So take in and store the species. So string species equals j option pane dot show input dialog, enter the species of fish caught. Okay, and I'm going to need an import, so I can go import javax.swing.star. Cool, there we go, my option pane will work now. Add code to take in and store a decimal value for the fish length and the weight. When you ask for the inputs, you must mention the fish species. Okay, so double what length equals double dot parse double dot j option, no, sorry, open bracket, j option, because basically I want to parse the double, and then I need some information inside parse double to actually parse, so that's what I'm going to put in the bracket, and the information I'm going to get is information from the user. And to get information from the user, you go j option pane dot show input dialog, enter the length of the, I need to mention the species name, so I'm going to go close the quotes plus species fish. So assuming I said the species was human, it would say enter the length of the human fish. Right, then double weight equals double dot parse double. You know what, you can probably save a bit of time. You guys type like incredibly slowly. Let's copy and paste. So I just highlighted with the mouse, pushed Control C to copy. Length over here, I don't want, this is going to be weight. And it is enter the weight. Cool. Right. Add code to round the length, the length to one decimal place. So first thing I want to do is I want to go length equals length times 10. Length equals math.round length comma 1. So what okay, what is the double? Oh, never mind. I mean, yeah, okay. If you could specify the number of decimals, you would need to do the times 10 divided by 10. Okay, I'm being a real idiot. And then length equals length divided by 10. Incidentally, let's go back to that. So I put this over here. Let's pretend I had no idea what's going on, which I didn't. And then if I hover over the error message, it says, no suitable method found for round double int. In other words, you can't call round by sending it a double and then an integer. Then it says then it gives us the two method names. Method, math.round float is not applicable. So in other words, I could send it just a single float, and math.round double is not applicable. So I could send it a single double. So basically, that's how I knew I can only send it length. Okay, that should be rounded now. Add code to calculate the fish points. The points earned for a fish caught if 1 point is awarded for each full kilogram. Okay, so it doesn't say anything about storing the fish points, but I think it would be incredibly stupid to not store the fish points. I wonder if I'm supposed to add this to fish comp total, or if I'm supposed to add this to another thing and then do fish comp total later. Let's see if there's anything. I don't see anything about points. Okay, points comp total. Okay, okay, that gets calculated at the end of the day. So I'm going to put it in something separate for now. Right. That's actually quite. I can see how this could actually be a little bit confusing if you'd never done this program before, like I haven't. But let's put it into just a single variable fish points. I do that because over here it mentions the actual global variables to be counted over there. I think if I'm right that in my code I've actually sort of told you what to store things in, except for the higher order questions. But yeah, so calculate the fish points, and that is a rounded off thing. So we want an int fish points equals int length. Okay, now And the reason I'm doing this, over here with this bracket int close bracket, I am casting length as an integer, which means that it's basically going to get rid of the decimal, which is what we wanted. I would have used, if I wanted it to round, I would have just used round, but whatever. To be honest, in fact, realistically, I think rounding the length to one decimal place and then throwing away that decimal place is actually a really weird, silly thing to do. So you might be thinking that code is pretty useless. I agree with you, but you know what? It got us marks, so we're going to do it. Add code to display a summary of the fish caught. The output for the first fish caught on day 1 should appear as follows. Okay, so the first fish caught on day 1, it immediately made me think, hang on, I need some variables to say it's the first fish, or it's on day 1, but there's nothing in that in the output, so I'm not going to worry about that just yet. So I want system.out.println, and I want statistics for plus species caught. Caught has got a capital letter. Okay, length. And then I want to add a tab in, and plus length. And you can see over here, I've just put a \t. If I type /t, you can see the t stays exactly the same, but if I type \t, you can see the t actually gets and the backslash get bolded. That shows you it's like one thing, and that's going to be the tab character. Then I want the weight. Otherwise, you could just run the code, and if it prints /t instead of putting a tab in, I got it the wrong way around. Println weight. That's why this is nicer than any other subject, because you can actually get some idea whether you're getting stuff right or not. Plus weight. Plus, it tells you if I forget a semicolon. First off, when I push enter to get to the next line, you can see it's immediately not indented. It's put a little thing there saying semicolon. It's basically tells you what to do. You shouldn't get any marks. Right. Add a looping structure to cater for multiple fish caught in one day. Remembering that the number of fish caught is essentially unlimited and could be 0. So that means we want a loop. You could manipulate it with a for loop, but I prefer to only use for loops when I know exactly how many fish we're going to catch, or whatever. So unlimited, that means I'm going to use a while loop. Could be 0, that means so I've got a choice then between a while loop and a do while loop. A while loop executes 0 or multiple times. A do while loop executes at least once, so once or multiple times. So seeing as the number of fish could be 0, I'm going to use a while loop instead of a do while loop. You'll need to ask the angler if he has caught a fish, or alternatively if it is the end of the day. So he enters 1 or 0. Okay, repeat all steps from 2.1 to 2.5 for each fish caught. So over here, first thing I need to do is I need to go int caught fish equals integer.parseInt j option pane.show input dialog. Have you caught a fish? Let's go to new line. Enter 1 if yes. Enter 0 if no. Okay, right. You know what? I really don't like the fact that I haven't even tested this code. So I'm actually just going to go to the main method quickly. I'm going to call the one day method by typing one day and brackets. Let's run this. I get very nervous. Okay, it doesn't have any main classes. I think that's because I haven't saved it. Click save. Click run. There's my main class. And it's going to complain because I didn't put a semicolon. Incidentally, if it was running the wrong thing, you could right click and you could choose just run file. Or you can go over here to the run menu, and choose run file. And it's putting my inputs on the other screen. So have you caught a fish? Yes, I have. Enter the species. Yeah, human. Say we caught a swimmer. Enter the length of the human fish. Let's go with me. We caught me. I don't know. 1.96. Enter the weight. Goodness knows. Let's go with 52.3, which is a lie. And there we go. Statistics for the human caught. Length to weight 52.3. Oh, I forgot about the points. And that's why I like to test my code. If I'd forgotten about the points and I'd like caught the whole program, done the whole program, it'd be pretty tricky to figure out where I was going wrong. But now I know, oh, it's over here. Points /t plus fish points. Cool. And now let's run this. So, have you caught a fish? Yes. Enter the species of fish caught. Carp. Enter the length of the carp fish. Let's go with 157 centimeters, which is, wow, a massive carp. Oh, wow, I'm an idiot. Okay, let's try that again. Have you caught a fish? Yes. The reason that crashed was I typed CM in. Enter the species, carp. Enter the length of the carp fish, 196. Goodness knows what units that in. Enter the weight of the thing. Let's go with 24.999999. I want to see if I get 24 points to 25. And I get 196 because I'm doing my points on the length for some reason. And I think if I recall correctly, that's on the weight. So my bad. Very useful, in fact, checking your code. I strongly recommend it. This isn't me like making deliberate mistakes just to show you, like I genuinely made those two mistakes because I'm trying to get through this fast, which you guys probably shouldn't do. Okay, so let's try it again. So, have I caught a fish? No. Oh, wait. Obviously, it's not going to do anything if it doesn't have the looping structure, so it's ignoring that. Enter the species, carp. Enter the length, doesn't matter. Enter the weight, 24.99999. And I get 24 points. Cool, so we seem to be going fine so far. So, very important to test your code. Right, add a looping structure. Okay, so we've done the asking the angler. Now I need to repeat the things. So, while caught fish is not equal to naught, I want to do all of that. And immediately I'm going to right click and choose format just so it's indented nicely. Okay, it's very difficult to read code if it's not indented. Now let's try run it. So if I say no fish, it should immediately stop. And then what I would do is I would run it. I'd test and see, apologies for hitting the mark. I test it and see, does it work each time I catch fish and stop. I'm just going to not do that now because otherwise we'll be here all day. It was important to do that initial test run though, but I'm pretty certain my loop is going to work, which is not something you should do in your test. Right, the total number and weight of all fish caught for the day as well as the total points earned for the day need to be summarized at the end of each day. So add code to create a fish day count. Account it to keep track of the number of fish caught on that day as quickly as possible. It's not any of our globals. Fish day count, the number of fish caught. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. You know what? I'm going to run this looping structure because I made a massive mistake, even though saying I wasn't going to do it, and I'm sure it works. So let's look at this. Have you caught a fish? Yes. Enter the species of fish caught, carp. Enter the length. 15. Enter the weight. 16 or 14 or whatever. Cool. Enter the species of fish caught, trout. You could also already see what mistake I made. Enter the length, 16. Enter the weight, 0.23. So I get 0 points. And you can see the problem is that I forgot to ask again, have you caught a fish? So the loop is going to run forever. So in fact, once again, that wasn't a deliberate mistake. I actually made that mistake. And you also all heard me going, I haven't made a mistake. You know what I'm doing. Don't you do it? Apparently I don't. So yeah, test your code. There we go. You know what? Let's just test that it works. Have you caught a fish? So let's run one for yes. Enter the species. I don't care. Enter the length. Again, I don't care. Enter the weight because I'm testing the looping structure, not anything else. Have you caught a fish? Hopefully it stops now. And it stops. Great. So now my code is working. Right. Okay. Fish day count. A counter to keep track of the number of fish caught on that day as accurately as possible. So we'll go int fish day count. It's going to start off at 0 because that's how many fish we've caught. And then if we get inside here, then we've caught a fish. So we'll go fish day count plus plus. Right. Add code to calculate the weight day total, the total weight of fish caught for the day. Okay, so I suspect I'm going to need fish day count outside the loop, which is why I've declared it outside. I suspect the same thing for weight day total. So weight is a double the total weight. Weight day total, let's start that at 0. And then over here, each time I do a weight, I'm going to say weight day total equals weight day total plus weight. So this should then add that to me. Points day total, the total points earned for the day. Points are integers, so we'll declare an int. Points day total equals 0. Points are happening over here. So points day total equals points day total plus fish points. You might make a mistake here. You might type something like points day total equals fish points. And that would not work because it's just going to overwrite the points day total each time instead of adding to it. That's why I had to do the equals, the original thing plus. You could also have just typed points day total plus equals fish points. And finally, the weight day average. The average weight of the fish caught in the day. It doesn't make sense to calculate an average inside the loop because it's going to change each time we run it, so let's do it afterwards. So, double weight day average equals, and that is going to be my weight day total divided by my fish day count, because that's the total weight divided by the number of fish. Okay, add code to display the summary for the day. So if that wasn't there, I've just done a whole bunch of calculations. So I was actually going to type this code in anyway and just test it, but let's do that. So add code to display the summary. So summary for the day. Yep, summary of the day. Total number of fish caught. Can I do this? Yeah, wait, you guys won't be able to do that because you'll have a printout. Total number of fish caught. Let's add a new line. Well, let's not add a new line. Let's add a tab. Total number of fish caught is fish day count. Total weight of fish caught. That is weight day total. And finally, total point. Well, not finally, total points earned. Total points earned. I feel like we're going to need 2 tabs there, but whatever. And that is points day total. I forgot to put a plus. Cool. And then average weight of a single fish. So average weight of a single fish. And that we want to be, that's our weight. I messed that up. /t inside the brackets plus weight day average. Okay, cool. So let's see if that works. Have you caught a fish? Yes. And species of fish, I really don't care. The length of the fish, let's go with 10.5. Enter the weight of the fish. Let's go with 4.5. And right, have I caught a fish? Yes. So let's do another fish. Again, I don't care what it is. Length of the fish, actually don't really care. It's also being recorded for me, so I don't need to remember the numbers. 6.8. Have I caught a fish? Let's do one more. Species, I don't care. Enter the length is 78. Enter the weight is 74.3. That should mess up our average. Have you caught a fish? Let's go no. So total number of fish caught, 3, which is true. Weight of fish, let's check this out. So the weight of my fish, if I add them up, is 4.5 plus 6.8 plus 74.3. That gives you a total of 85.6. Perfect. My total points earned is 74 plus 6 plus 4, 84. That's perfect. Then my average weight is 28.5. So let's add up my weights again. So, well, my total weight was 85.6. Divide that by 3 fish, and it's 28.53 recurring. Perfect. Why is the average rounded to 1 kilogram? We're rounding the length. It didn't tell me to round it to 1 kilogram, so I'm not going to round it, to 1 decimal, so I'm not going to round it to 1 decimal. Right, in the main method, the competition lasts for 5 fishable days. Add code that will call the 1 day method for each day of the competition. So again, I could do this with the while loop, but I know exactly how many times it's going to run, so I feel like a for loop is just going to be easier. So I is fine. I want to go while I is less than 5, and I want to call 1 day. Perfect. Erase something somewhere. Hopefully it wasn't important. Right, then in both, and let's just take a look just for fun. We have done 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 26. We've done 28 plus another 3. We've done 31 out of 55 marks. And it's actually been pretty simple so far. So this is where it starts getting a bit more complicated. Right, in both the 1 day and the main method, once the 5 days of competition are over, both the total number of fish caught and points earned need to be calculated. Add code to calculate the fish count. A counter to keep track of the total number of fish caught in the whole competition. This needs to be incremented after each fish is caught. Okay, which is interesting. I would probably have said, what's this? I would have probably just added at the end of each day, because we've got a summary for each day, but they did specifically say after each fish is caught, so let's follow the rules. So we'll go fish comp count plus plus. Like really, I think, if I was doing this program for myself, I'd have, instead of adding incrementing fish comp count every time, I'd have gone over here after the loop, and we've got our fish day count. I would have said fish comp count equals fish comp count plus fish day count, but let's do what they say. Right, add code to calculate the points comp total, the total points earned by the boat over the whole competition. This is calculated at the end of each day. So int, and it's called points comp total equals points comp total plus points day total. Points comp total. Oh, wow. I'm being an idiot. Sorry. So points comp total is one of the global variables we declared over here, which I know because I remember it. And I was just wondering, why is points comp, what is it complaining about? Like, why isn't it, like over here, I can't add points comp total if I hadn't initialized it, but I remember I initialized it. It's because I've redeclared it as an int. So this points comp total is different to that points comp total. Get rid of that, and now suddenly I'm using, because I'm not redeclaring points comp total, which I strongly recommend. Don't ever declare a variable with the same name as one of your global variables. It'll just solve so many problems if you don't ever do that. There we go. It's also green, so it's global, so now I'm back. Okay, everything's cool, everything's fine. I suspect the reason why they did this, by the way, why they want this one inside, well, after each fish, and this at the end of the day, because it's the difference over here. You have to make like points day total sort of like declare it outside, so you can use it outside here, whereas you're actually, although hang on, you have to print a summary at the end anyway. So yeah, who knows why they've done that? Probably just to see if you can follow instructions, change things around. Add code to display both the total number of fish and the total points earned by the boat over the whole competition, as seen below, if the team did not catch any more fish for the remaining 3 days. Okay, sorry. So this is going back to our example, where over here, okay, they caught these fish in the first 2 days, and then this is the summary you'll get from the sample data. So this is the way for you to like sort of like test that your stuff is working properly, I suppose. Okay, right. So that has to happen after the competition. So I can't put it inside this loop at all, because this is just 1 day of the competition. After the competition is in fact after the for loop. So if I put the stuff in here, this is completely wrong. This is going to display at the end of every single day, and it's not right. So we'll do that. So competition summary. Total number of fish caught. They really do like the capital letters, don't they? Now that is a tab. So /t plus, what's the thing called? Fish comp count. Cool. And total points earned. And I think it's worthwhile, in fact, testing our code. So let's run this. Have you caught a fish? Let's use the test data they gave us. I've now lost my, yes. Enter the species of fish. You know what, I'm just going to, instead of having to drag this over, it's going to take forever. I'm just going to say what I'm doing. So I'm typing in Trevally. The length is 85.12. The weight is 36.4. Right, have I caught a fish? Yes. Wahoo. And this is 135.36. It's 23.7. And then have I caught a fish? Yes. Trevally. And it's 89.34. 37.1. Have you caught a fish? No. So that's the end of the day. Let's just check that that end of the day worked. So there are my 3 fish. And there's my total number of fish caught for the day. Perfect. Right. Have you caught a fish? So we're now on to day 2. Yes, I have. And it's a wahoo. And it's 152.41, 26.1. Then have I caught a fish? Yes. Well, Trevally, 89.41, 37.6. Have I caught a fish? Yes. Dorado, it's 113, 20.2. Have I caught a fish? No. So let's check that. We got day 2. Day 2 is, there's our 3 fish. Now, day 3 is just going to be no. So my summary is nothing. Cool. Average weight is not a number. That's because we're dividing by 0. Fortunately, it doesn't crash. Enter naught and naught. Those are my 5 days. Total number of fish caught 6. Total points earned 179. Let's check that out. Perfect. So things seem to be working fine. Right. Not too much left to go. An independent fish cash prize is given to the angler who catches the longest fish, independent of species recorded in the whole competition. Oh, this is going to be a pain. Add code to record the length of the longest fish. Oh, thank goodness. I thought they were going to ask us for the name of the angler. Because, oh, wow, that was going to be a real pain. Right. Add code to record the length of the longest fish caught in the whole competition. So we've got a longest length already. That's nice. And longest species. We're going to need 2 variables because I want the length and the name of the species. So, all right. Given that it's a length, I think I can pretty much assume that the longest length has to be, well, yeah, greater than 0. So I'm quite fine. I initialize longest lengths to 0. I was just wondering, should I make that the first fish I ever caught? But I'm actually fine with it not being, because it's a length. So if it was some number, like if we're recording the lowest temperature, then I couldn't just, for example, say, okay, the lowest temperature is going to be 0. Because maybe the lowest temperature could be -2 or -3 or -4. There I'd have to like actually add code. So I'd have to go before over here. I'd have to like add code for the very first fish and then call one day. And wow, that would be complicated getting all the variables right. So I'm pretty glad I can just assume that the longest is definitely going to be longer than 0. Or otherwise, at least tie 0. And it's impossible to catch a fish that's 0. And if no one catches any fish, then no one deserves the award. Cool. So then all I need to do is over here, every time I catch a fish, so every time I get a length, let's do it after rounding. If my longest length is now shorter than the length, then my longest length becomes equal to the length. Very important you get these the right way around. Otherwise, you're going to store the shortest thing. Or what you're going to do is you're going to change the length to the longest length each time, and you'll mess up. Let's just do a little test there. I'll just run one day. Have I caught a fish? Yes. Enter the species. Let's just call medium. And my length of my medium fish is going to be 15. My weight, I don't care. Have I caught a fish? Yes. And let's make this one the longest one. So I'm going to go longest. Let's make this, so it was 15, let's make this 23. Enter the weight, let's make it 12. Have I caught a fish? Yes. Let's go through something shorter than that. So let's go with, say, 5. I don't care about the weight. Okay, and you know what? This is a pointless test, because at no point am I displaying the length of the longest fish. So I really should do that. Let's just read this again. Record the length. Okay, record the name. We'll get that. Add an additional line to display both the name and species and length of the longest fish. So let's do that for time being. Okay, longest fish. Plus, what's this thing called again? Longest length. Okay, so I'm going to run it again. Okay, right, so have I caught a fish? Yes, I know you can't see this. Don't care about the species. Enter the length. Let's go with 15. Enter the weight. Don't care. Right, have I caught another fish? So length is currently 15. I'm going to put something bigger than that in. Let's go with 89. Enter the length, 89. Enter the weight, 456. Okay, have I caught a fish? Yes, let's go with something shorter. Let's go with 45. Enter the weight, 12. Have I caught a fish? No. Let's skip through the rest of the days. And my longest fish is 89. Perfect. I'm just going to try putting the longest fish on day, say, 3. So have I caught a fish? Yes. I don't care about the species. Length, let's go with 45. Weight, I don't care. Caught a fish? Yes. Length 56, that's my new longest should be 56. Have I caught a fish? No, let's end the day. We've ended each day on 3. So let's do, right, day 2, have I caught a fish? Yes, I have. I don't care about the species. Right, let's make the very, very first one the longest fish. So I'm going to put in 1,000. Have we caught a fish? Yes, let's do another one. Enter the species. The length, 400. Let's go with 999. Let's see if it doesn't overwrite that accidentally. Have you caught a fish? No. Let's have an empty day. Let's throw in another day here. I don't care about species. Let's go with the length of 78. 23. No. And the next day. Okay. And my longest fish is 1,000. Cool. So that seems to be going perfectly fine. Right. Record the name of, so now we're in 4.2b. Add code to record the name of the species of the longest fish. So over here, so my longest species is empty. I don't need to put another if in, because if I get inside here, if my longest length is, then definitely we're updating longest length, so we can go longest species equals species. And then I need to 4.2c add an additional line to display both the name and the length of the longest fish. Oh, it says an additional line. So it's all in one line. So longest fish plus longest fish, which is, or which was, a longest species, which I can't spell. Cool. Okay. Right. I should test it again, but you know what? You find out if I made a mistake. I don't think I did, but maybe I did. Right. One of the special rules is the species bonanza, the score multiplier. Right. 2 times for the day, today's points multiplied by 2. So in order to program the species bonanza, we would need to do the following. Create a counter for each species that will increment when one of the species is caught. We assume these are the only species available to fish. So how would we do it if we had to do multiple things? Oh, that would actually be tricky because we have to store every single species name and an associated thing. So we'd have to use arrays, which you don't know yet. Okay, so create a counter for each species. Okay, and this happens within a day. Okay, so I can do it inside the 1 day method. So I'd take marks off if you declare two variables globally because it's just happening on 1 day because we do for the points totals in 1 day. So we'll go over here. Right, so I want Trevally, Wahoo, and Dorado. So int num Trevally, and we start off on 0. Int num Wahoo, start off on 0, and int num Dorado, and we start off on 0. Okay, right, cool. Create a blah blah blah. 2 counters from A and B should reflect the following information over there. Oh, sorry, so create a species counter. Okay, we've done that. We've got 4 marks already. Well, that was actually easy marks. I imagine the 4th mark there is for putting them inside 1 day instead of globally. Create a species counter. A counter that will count how many species have been fished that day by using the individual species counters in an increment if 1 or more fish of each species is caught in that day. Okay, so in fact what I'm doing over here, I need to actually increment the count. So let's do that. I thought, that, it just says over here, create a counter, but it doesn't actually say, like, that will increment when one of the species is caught. So I suppose that's the thing telling us to do it here. So if species is equal to Trevally, then Trevally plus. Apparently I still can't. If species is equal to Dorado, sorry, this should be an else, because if the species is Trevally, it definitely can't be Dorado, so this has to be an else if, otherwise you'll lose a mark for being inefficient. And then finally, if it's Trevally or Dorado, it can't possibly be Wahoo, so it's another else if. Alright, and I can see I've made a mistake, which I'm delighted with. See if you can spot it before I say. Pause it if you have to. And the problem is, and it's nice because it actually highlights for me, it's saying you're being an idiot, you're comparing strings using equals equals, which won't work, so it has to be dot equals. Suppose, yeah, so I'm more experienced programming than you guys. I suppose really the real difference experience makes is that I just realize my mistakes sooner rather than not making any. Maybe you guys won't make mistakes. Maybe you'll be better. Right, there we go. That should be cool. I really should test it, but I've run out of interest. You wouldn't because you're in an exam, and this means whether you counts whether you pass or not. Right, create a species counter. A counter that will count how many species have been fished that day by using the individual species counters in A. Cool. And increment if one or more fish of each species caught in that day. Okay, so species counter. So I think we can do this after the day's done. Int species counter equals 0. And then if num trevally is not equal to 0, species counter plus plus. Okay, cool. Right. If num dorado is not equal to 0, species counter plus plus. Is this the best way to do this? Oh, who knows? And then if num wahoo is not equal to 0, species counter plus plus. Okay, right. You might be wondering, over here, these were if-elses. That's because in a single fish, it can either be trevally, dorado, or wahoo. It can't be all three of them, so that's why it's else if. But it's entirely possible that we caught some trevally and some dorado and some wahoo, so that's why these aren't else if. These are just straight out ifs. It's actually quite a sneaky prac. Right, then finally, use a switch statement to assess how many different species of fish have been caught today, and then multiply the total points today if a species bonanza is achieved as in the competition rules below. So 2 species for the day multiplied by 2, 3 species multiplied by 3. Okay, and I have no idea why you would use a switch statement. I mean, why you wouldn't just multiply your points by species counter. Like really, if you're doing this in real life, I would then just go points day total equals points day total times 3. So, oh wow. Times species counter. And this would work whether you had like 3 species or like 45. But I suppose we restricted to just 3 species, and I suppose they really wanted to test a switch statement. So the only reason they said switch here is because they wanted to test a switch statement. It makes no sense to use a switch. So we're going to switch species counter. Case 2. Points day total. Let's show times equals 2. That's going to multiply it by 2. I'm being fancy. And then break. I must put a break in. Otherwise, if I caught 2 things, it would actually do the 3 as well. And multiply it by 2, then multiply by 3. Let's do it the normal way. Just so you can see what I mean. Points day total times 3. And once again, we want to break. Although we don't actually have to break here because we're not putting any other cases. And I don't need to do a default case because I don't want anything to happen if it's not a 2 or a 3. All right. I'm going to let you guys test it because I've run out of interest. One thing I would test is just for fun, while you're doing the test, just get rid of the break and you'll see what happens if there's 2 species. You know what? I'm going to do that. I'll just run it quickly. So have I caught a fish? Yes, I've caught a fish. Dorado. Length, don't care. And my weight, let's just make it 10. So it's going to give me 10 points. Have I caught a fish? Yes. And let's make it trevally. Enter the length. Again, I don't care. And let's make it 15. Okay. So my points for the day, I've got 10 plus 15, so I've got 25 points. 2 species, so it should multiply it by 2, so it should be 50 points. But because I haven't put a break here, it's going to match species counter as being 2. It's going to multiply the points day total by 2 to get 50. Then it's going to multiply it by 3 and get 150 because I didn't put the break there. So total points earned 150. You can see why we need that break. And then I'm going to kill the program because I've really lost out of interest. So let's put that break back in. And this, I think, is the perfect solution. Maybe it's not. You test it. See if you can do slightly better. There is a memo. And yeah, thanks for watching. Good luck.